Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do a review of some solving equation stuff. So this is kind of like our level 1 stuff. So this is a review of stuff that you should have talked about before in middle school, but also I know there was kind of a long end there to the middle school time that was online. So I thought it would be a good idea to give you an option to review this stuff here before we jump into some of our Algebra 1 version of solving equations here. So if we look at something like this first one here that says like 3x plus 2 equals 14. I want you to keep in mind that our goal... Okay, sorry about that. I got interrupted there for a second. So we're solving these ones like this. So our goal here is to figure out what value for x we could put in that spot there to make this equation true. So we're thinking about like 3 times some number plus 2 more gets me 14. Okay? So we can solve these by kind of undoing what's around that x there. So we can get some kind of steps that'll work for us for these simpler problems like this guy. And then it'll also work for us when we get to some more complicated ones with variables on both sides and stuff like that. So if I think about what this 3x is worth, it's some number plus 2 got me 14 there. So if I want to, I can go ahead and subtract the 2 from both sides to get it that plus 2 to kind of like cancel out. And thinking about the fact that this means that this 3x right here has to have a value of 12. That should make sense because 12 plus 2 would have gotten me 14. Then I'm thinking that 3x means that we have 3 times a number, 3 times x, to get 12. So when we think about that, we think 3 times some number gets me 12. Well, if I don't know what that is, I can just divide both sides by 3. We're kind of then canceling out that 3 there because x equals 4. Because 3 times 4 would have gotten me 12. So my solution here to this guy would be x equals 4. Okay, so you can always, the nice thing about these is that you always know if you got it right, because you can just plug that number back into your original equation and make sure that you get 14. So 3 times 4 would have been 12, plus 2 gets me that 14 there. Okay, so that works out. My answer is x equals 4. Same idea here. Now for the second one here, we have 22 minus some number got me negative 2. Well, let me go ahead and figure out what this part had to be worth. I'll take the 22 away. So you're kind of doing like opposite of order of operations, or that PEMDAS that you might have heard of before. So we'll start with addition and subtraction and work our way back up because we're kind of undoing these things. So instead of starting at the top and working down, when we're solving an equation, we're undoing those things. So we're starting with the addition and subtraction and working our way back up in that order. So then we have this kind of cancels out there. 22 minus 22 just cancels out to get 0. Be careful here though, because you do have a negative 4x there equals negative 24. Negative 2 minus 22 would be negative 24. Remember, the reason for that is because, off to the side, let me just explain this a little bit. What this means is that we would have had to subtract 24 in order to get negative 2. Remember that this was a 4x here. So it's saying that 4x has to have the same value as 24. So when I think about negative 4 times something to get me negative 24, again, we can undo that multiplication by dividing. So we get x equals 6. If you don't trust your steps there to get you to the right place, you can always take that 6 and plug it back in for x to make sure you get the right thing. So you can put a 6 right there over x and think about, okay, that's 4 times 6, that's 24. 22 minus 24 gets me negative 2, so I know I'm right. What I want you to do right now is just really quick, go ahead and pause the video and try out that number 3 there on your own and see if you can do that, okay? I want you to pause me right now on a little scratch sheet of paper, a whiteboard, whatever you got around you. Go ahead and try and solve that last one there for x. Okay, now that I'm hoping you've had the chance to do that because you paused the video, I want to say your answer right now should be x equals 5. And I'll show you the steps I would have done. So I'm thinking about 5 times some number plus 2 got me 27. Let me subtract 2 from both sides. We get 5x equals 25. That means 5 times some number got me 25, so I'll divide both sides by 5 to get x by itself here. And we end up with 25 divided by 5, we get x equals 5. These are kind of our level 1 problems that should be review for you guys, so if you need more like this, make sure that you're talking to your teacher.